They threw you a surprise birthday party once, spent weeks planning it, got all your favorite people in one room, decorated, made your favorite food, did everything you're supposed to want. And you stood there, surrounded by people calling themselves your friends, and felt absolutely nothing. No joy, no gratitude. Just a hollowing awareness that you didn't actually want any of these people here. That if you could snap your fingers and be alone in your apartment with takeout and silence, you would, without hesitation. And that's when you knew. Not immediately. But the seed was planted. The quiet understanding that you'd been maintaining relationships out of obligation, out of history, out of the momentum of having known people for a long time, but not out of genuine desire. So you started pulling back, slowly at first, responding less, declining invitations, creating distance. And when they didn't notice, or worse, when they noticed but only got annoyed rather than concerned, it confirmed what you already suspected. These relationships were already over. You were just the first one honest enough to acknowledge it. So you did what everyone said you shouldn't do. You cut them all off, and you've never felt more sane. People love to pathologize isolation. If you cut everyone off, you must be damaged, traumatized, going through something, having an episode. Because healthy people maintain connections, right? Healthy people have friends and family and a robust social network. Healthy people don't just burn everything down and start over. Except that framing ignores a crucial question. What if the connections themselves were making you unhealthy? What if every text message felt like a small invasion? Every phone call like a performance you had to prepare for? Every hangout like an elaborate costume you had to wear? What if the most authentic version of yourself only emerged when you were completely alone? Then cutting everyone off isn't pathology. It's clarity. It's finally admitting that you've been living someone else's definition of a good life while your own soul has been suffocating. Here's what actually drives people to cut everyone off. Accumulated resentment that has no single target. Not one person wronged you. It's not that simple. It's that over years, maybe decades, you became the designated giver, the reliable one, the one who shows up, who listens, who helps. And you thought that's what friendship was, what family was, what love required, until you had a crisis, or just a bad week, or just needed someone to show up for you the way you'd shown up for them. And crickets, or worse than crickets, performative concern followed by immediate subject changes. That's tough. Anyway, let me tell you about my thing. And you realized these relationships were never reciprocal. You were a resource, a free therapist, a supporting character in their story. And for mining, you cavagly of that reciprocal second, we no descend, and a nefer, we said, you cavagly frack. And the moment you needed something, the moment you stopped being useful, you became invisible. So you didn't fight for better treatment, didn't send a group text explaining how hurt you were. You just stopped showing up, stopped giving, stopped pretending the one-sidedness didn't matter. And here's the thing that shocks people who cut everyone off. Almost no one fought to keep them. A few confused texts, maybe one, "Are you mad at me?" that they didn't even answer. But mostly, just acceptance, which proved the point. These people didn't actually care. They cared about what you provided. And when you stopped providing it, they moved on. So you moved on too, completely, finally, without looking back. There's another driver: identity, death, and rebirth. Some people cut everyone off because they've fundamentally changed, and their old relationships can't hold the new version of them. Maybe they got sober. Maybe they left a religion. Maybe they came out. Maybe they just grew up and realized the person they were at 20 isn't who they are at 35, and their existing relationships were all built around the old version. The party friend, the devoted daughter, the person who never questioned anything, and when they tried to show up as their new self, they were met with resistance, confusion, attempts to pull them back into the old role. "You've changed," said like an accusation, and they realized, "Yes, I have. And you're trying to love a ghost." So they didn't try to bridge the gap, didn't try to bring people along on their journey. They just left, cut everyone off who knew the old them, started fresh with people who only know this version. Because it's easier to build new relationships as your authentic self than to renegotiate old ones. Meet David, 41, hasn't spoken to anyone from his old life in 3 years. He moved cities, changed careers, started over completely. His college friends thought they were close. But David realized they were just people who got drunk together in their 20s and never evolved past that. Every reunion was the same jokes, the same stories, the same dynamic where David played the responsible one while they relived their youth. And he was tired of being frozen in a version of himself that didn't exist anymore. So he stopped going, stopped responding, let the friendships die of natural causes. And now he has 3 real friends, people who know him now, who like who he actually is, not who he used to be. And that's worth more than 40 shallow connections. Meet Rachel, 34, cut off her entire family, not because they were monsters, because they were suffocating. Every conversation was judgment. Why wasn't she married? Why did she choose that career? Why didn't she visit more? She tried explaining, tried setting boundaries, tried asking them to see her as an adult. But to them, she'd always be the child who needed correction, the disappointing daughter who made unconventional choices. So she stopped trying, blocked numbers, moved without sharing her address, created a life they have no access to. And yes, she feels guilty. But she also feels free. Free to make choices without commentary, to exist without constant evaluation. And freedom, it turns out, is worth the guilt. Here's what people get wrong about cutting everyone off. They think it's impulsive, a dramatic gesture, something you do in anger and regret later. But for most people, it's the opposite. It's the most carefully considered decision they've ever made. The end result of years of trying to make relationships work that fundamentally didn't. It's not the beginning of the breakdown, it's the end of it. The breakdown was staying in relationships that required you to abandon yourself. Cutting everyone off is the recovery. Here's the truth. Some people are meant to walk through life with a huge circle, dozens of friends, big family gatherings, constant connection. And some people are meant to walk through life with a small, carefully chosen few, or alone. Neither is superior. Neither is healthier. They're just different operating systems. And if you're someone who cut everyone off, who chose solitude over performance, who built a new life from scratch with no witnesses from your old one, you're not broken. You're just finally living at your actual capacity instead of the one society prescribed. And the right people, if they exist for you, will find you in your truth, not in your performance. Because you're done performing, you cut everyone off not to hurt them, but to finally save yourself. And that's not cruelty, that's survival.